we ended up paying for both Priuses. Well, let's just say it's 10 and 10, $20,000 more than we should have, and not counting interest.
Yep.
On the Priuses, which is resulted from not reading the contract.
Yep. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. Today's episode, we're going to be discussing about checking contracts before you sign.
Yes. And so for those that don't know us, my name is Juan. This is my brother Alexis. And we started our business in 2019, and currently we're at a run rate of $3 million a year. And so with what it is that we talk about, I feel like up to the point of $3 million a year, I feel like we know what we're talking about. So take it for what it is.
Yeah. Yep. So going back to the topic, I know the topic is reading your contracts before you sign.
Yeah.
I know for us, like I know it's common sense.
Yeah.
The people tell you read before you sign, but it's like sometimes, like, have you ever seen those memes where whenever like there's an update for Apple, or whenever there's an update for your phone, or like when you want to go into Instagram and Facebook or whatnot, you just put okay, you don't even read the terms of services. Which technically, like, if you don't agree to them, then you can't use it, which is why people don't care and they just check it. But that's beyond the point. So I like I mentioned, I know it's very common sense that you're supposed to read it, but for us, that's something that we started off, 18 years old, you were 19, 20 years old. And I guess, what are some of the first times where it bit us in the butt where we didn't read a contract?
Yeah. So I remember the very first time was 2015, 2016, from what I remember. I don't know if you remember any situation before that.
I don't think so, no. So, yeah, it was 2015, 2016.
Which is when we got our Priuses. Yep. Which back then, I don't think we really cared about what car we drove. It was just more, it's economical. And that's pretty much it. Yep. Like, we didn't really care, like, Priuses. And I know I've told some people that, we used to have Priuses, and they can't imagine us in Priuses. Yep. Which, now that, we have different cars, it makes sense why people can't picture us in Priuses.
Yep.
But, we got our Priuses. And so, we went to the dealership, brand, Toyota, trusted. People there, you would, going through life, trusting your parents, trusting your friends, maybe, I don't know, trusting a lot of people. They're workers there. Like, they wouldn't lie to you, you trust them. Yep. They're legit. They have ties. They have suits. Yep. Pretty legit. And so we got our Priuses. And I remember, like, the value of them were, like, I think $24,000 at that time, 2015, 2016, $24,000. And because we trusted them, they it didn't really matter what the price was. They were just saying, what monthly payment do you want? We were saying, I think it was $400 or $500 max. And so, they said they could, luckily they were able to get us down to that payment. And, like, they just gave us the contract and we signed. Yep. That's it. We signed. And that was it. Later down the road, when we, I think, wanted either to trade it in or to do something with it, we went back and, actually saw the contract. And the car was worth only $24,000 at that time of purchase. Yep. But we saw that at the end of when we signed the contract, I think they made us sign for, like, it was around 32 to 35, something like that. Yep. So almost $10,000 over what the car was worth through the different services, through the different products. Pretty much sold us on everything. And it was our fault for not reading the contract, because if we would have just read the lines, we would have seen car value is worth $24,000, and then these are all the other things that they're adding just by simply reading it. But because we didn't read it, because we fully blindly trusted them that they were trying to do the right things, we just signed it. And that's we ended up paying for both Priuses. Well, let's just say it's 10 and 10, $20,000 more than we should have, and not counting interest. Yep. On the Priuses, which is resulted from not reading the contract.
Yep. So that was the first scenario, and I know, like, in that case, you got the Prius first. You got it in 2015
September.
Yeah, in September. And I know the reason why I got a Prius is because I know that first I had a 99 Accord.
The 99 Accord.
And then eventually the transmission messed up, so you were at the time you were driving a 2006 Hyundai Tiburon yellow.
Which is which one of the things that which is we're digressing, but Luis, how, because we have a lot of products for our business that we need to test out on. Generally, we just need to test out, and so Luis mentioned maybe we could just get an old car. an old car, 2006 Hyundai Tiburon, which is what we used to drive. And I don't know, it might be nice.
Yeah, customize it.
Yeah.
But I think that's off topic.
Yeah, so in 2000, I was driving it.
Yeah, so before how it started is you had a 2006 Hyundai Tiburon, yellow, and I had a 1999 Accord. And I know with that, the Accord, the transmission was messing up because I was going reverse. I started accelerating, and it was you could just hear the engine.
Yeah,
it wasn't moving, and I know that it would stall when I was driving, like on the street. It stalled. There was like one time where it stalled, and I had to move it over. And I remember, to avoid that, you gave me the car you were driving, which was a Hyundai, and then that's when you got the Prius.
Yeah, so it was pretty much the transition.
And then I know, fast forward to 2016, I totaled that Hyundai Tiburon.
Yeah,
I totaled it.
Yep.
So I'm like, fuck it, I need a new car. So that's when I asked you, like, oh, where'd you go? To the dealership.
Yeah.
And that's how I got it. And same thing for me, I didn't read it. I'm just like, okay. So, you know, I just assumed without reading or anything. Yeah, I'm like, this guy's a good guy, so.
And I remember now more clearly that my dad had gone before to that dealership. And he wanted to get a car, but, you know, because of our, you know, situation, like, he couldn't. And he met with that guy. I don't know if we should mention this guy. His name starts with the salesman. Let's just call him salesman. You know, he talked to my dad, and so my dad had that, you know, connection, I guess. And so my dad said, oh, you know, you're gonna get a car, like, visit this guy. And so, yeah, the referral from my dad. And the thing is that he didn't even know him well.
No, because not even that. They didn't even look at numbers, so he didn't have just to look at numbers.
Didn't? I think he...
Did he?
I believe so. I think that he went a little, like, it was the residency. Well, I guess that's something we could ask him.
Yeah, okay, okay, never mind.
So there was some trust because it was my dad's referral.
Right, but okay. I was going to say that. Okay, never mind, go ahead.
Yeah, so it was my dad's referral, so that's why we had more trust, you could say. Because if it was from a complete stranger, I think we would be a little bit more precautious and more hesitant and just blindly signing some of the stuff. Because it did come from my dad. That, I signed it, and then because you trusted me, you just signed it too. Yep. With the similar monthly payment. No looking at contracts, it's just monthly payment, down payment, which was, I think, $1,000. That's it. Good to go.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
Later, when we wanted to trade it in or just return it after the lease was done, and it was a lease, that's when we looked at the numbers and they messed us up. They messed us up badly. Yeah.
So that was the first case. I know down the line we thought that we would learn from our lessons, but I guess it's just like, you know, and I guess it's just the trust in people. It's like one would assume, I guess, just the relationships we have with the people around us is like we trust them. So we would assume talking with people, just interacting with them, like their personality is cool, the way they talk is cool, the way they present themselves is normal. We would never think that they will lie to us or they would try to, you know, fuck people over. Which people, I guess that's why it reminded me of the Wolf of Wall Street. It's like people like over the phone, like this guy talks really well, like he sounds like he knows what he's doing, so let me trust him and let me do X, Y, and Z with him. Let me do business with him. Yeah. Same thing. And I know fast forward, there has been other scenarios within the business. And I know one of them is the most recent one, which is which technically, I mean, it's part of the business. It's just it's part of the contract and it's standard across the board for those contracts. It's just we expect something else, which is why we feel like
we got
fucked over.
But it was really on us, and everything really is on us.
It's 100%. It's on us
for not reading the contract. You know, we learned. You know, we were younger, and so we're growing and learning from our experiences. But yeah, like the warehouse signing that lease, everything was pretty standard. It's just that we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. I know that we are mainly used to like the resident leases or the resident rents, where if something messes up, like the faucet, the sink, the toilet, you just call your landlord to fix it and they fix it. But I know for the commercial lease that we signed, it's very different. Pretty much everything other than a few things, the tenant is in charge of fixing. Yeah. And we don't know that.
Yeah, because for those, I think it's standard practice for most commercial buildings to be triple N. And so with those, I think, and then also you could negotiate in your contract, but standard procedure, I think the landlord, so whoever owns the building of the commercial property, the only thing they're in charge of is the roof. I think the outside, like the foundation of the building, so like the structural side.
Yeah.
And then if you want to negotiate anything else, then you negotiate. But I think those two are the standards.
And the shared services or utilities or places, no?
No, that's considered camps. So that's we pay for it.
Okay. Also, but that's through the rent, huh? That we pay.
That's through the rent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So they're in charge of that. Also, anything safety, anything that's safety, like that. It's like it's because of the building that it's not safe, and they would be responsible for. But we didn't know, like how you mentioned, we didn't know. And I know in our most recent warehouse that we left, it was a triple N, meaning that we were in charge of everything. We were in charge of utilities, if we wanted to do any changes, if the plumbing got messed up, if the lighting got messed up, if lights went out, if we wanted to do any renovations or anything, we would be in charge of that. And we didn't know that. Oh, another thing we were in charge of that we didn't know, like because we didn't read the contract, even though it's standard practice, we were in charge of paying their taxes.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that we weren't aware of. And I know, fast forward to where we were in the middle of our lease. And I know that the original owner we signed the lease with for the commercial property, he sold it.
He did.
Which I think at the time he bought it for like 5 million.
I think it was 3.
3?
He sold it for 11.
3? Okay, so he bought it for 3, he sold it for 11. So obviously, like, it had to get appraised. And it was on record that, you know, we were paying taxes for those $3 million. But now, since it got sold, since it was appraised, since it was on record, now the owner had to pay taxes for the new appraisal for what it was worth now, which was 11 million. So again, because we're in charge of paying their taxes, now we had to pay more.
And that's by law, huh?
By law.
Yeah, which is kind of like, it's because we didn't know. That's why we felt that way when, you know, they sent us a bill, not our deposit back, but they sent us a bill of what it is that we needed to pay.
Yeah.
But even then, I feel like that. But even then, they were a little bit behind on some of the things that they were supposed to do. Yep. I think they were supposed to like notify us at the end of the year, like with the taxes that we're supposed to pay. But it was like a year and a half that nothing. Yep. And so, which was a little weird. And I know they made up certain excuses.
Yep.
But ultimately, it wasn't us for not doing the research. And also, like, at that time, we didn't have a realtor for the commercials. Yep. So everything really fell on us.
Yeah, which 100% it's on us, because I know that the only reason why that happened was because the building was sold. Because everything, like, what we were paying every single month was for it to cover everything. Was for it to cover the, well, whatever the square footage was, and then also for the taxes. It was supposed to cover that. But now that it's sold, then the taxes were going to be a little bit different, which again, they didn't get back to us in time. So I guess they wanted to charge us $20,000, no, around their $20,000, a $20,000 bill, and our deposit was around
2021. I think it was around 22,000.
Yep. Yeah. So that was the whole thing, and I know, like, we just left that at a wash.
Yeah, because I know they owed us stuff, which by law they're supposed to return it to us, which they never did. Even if we didn't pay anything, they're supposed to return it by law. But I think because we didn't want to deal with it. And I think they knew that it was going to be like that. I think that was their first intention, to just no return of deposit. Yep. But that's on us for not reading the contract. Yep. And so I think it's very important that when you sign something, you know, you read it. You read it through, because like those situations with the cars, with the leases, knowing what it is that you're signing.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll go as far as to say, especially if you're going to do a car. If you're going to buy a car. You're going to lease or you're going to purchase a car. Because one of the things I noticed that, yes, you could shake the hand with the salesman. Okay, I want this. But then the next thing they have you do is go into the finance office. And then I know a lot of the stuff is verbal. They're like, okay, it'll be good if we do this. Like, wouldn't it be good to have this protection? Like, yeah, it would. And so, like, that verbally, like, they're like, oh, I got confirmation. They put it in. If you don't read it, if you don't read the final thing that you're supposed to sign, then there's going to be a charge there. Yeah. And that's one thing I learned, that some of them, not all of them, some of them are sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky. And then some of them will also lie straight to your face. Yeah. They lie straight to our faces. Like, lie. Yep. But, you know, you encounter that. We encounter that. Yep. and it's just, you know, you handle that by just reading the contract. What does it say?
And again, we're still gonna encounter that. Damn, I got bit multiple times. Fuck. Anyways, we're still gonna encounter that right now in our business, and you know, as we continue doing businesses with other people, it's gonna happen the same thing. So all we could the best way to protect ourselves is to read everything before we sign it. Yeah. So I would assume it's common sense, but it wasn't so common for us.
Yeah, and then even until now, like there's probably some smaller contracts that we don't fully read. Yep. You know, like for example, when we sign up for a service, we probably don't like
we just accept.
We just accept. But I know it's but now there's tools. Yep. ChatGPT, put it through ChatGPT. Can you summarize this? What are the negatives of me as a user if I sign this? And so there's great resources like that you can use to kind of like
help you understand if you don't have an attorney.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's a useful tool. But, other than that, do you have anything else?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, this has been another episode of Driven. My name is Juan.
My name is Alexis.
And we'll see you on the next one.